Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Caffeine. I'm your host Ali al Farai, and with me in the control is Muhammad al Harthy. In this episode, we are having a special guest. I know you might be saying that I say this at every episode, but yes, because each and every person is unique and special in his own way. And our guest for today is no different from them. Our guest was born in Zanzibar and residing there until the age of 8. She was compelled to leave due to the revolution, subsequently relocating to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. However, finding suitable private schools proved challenging, so she decided to move to Kuwait, where she resided for a span of 9 years. Following her time in Kuwait, she relocated to Abu Dhabi, where she completed her secondary education before being granted a scholarship from Oman to pursue studies in Jordan. After graduating in 1979, she entered into marriage and settled in Scotland with her husband, who was pursuing a master's degree. Her professional journey began as an instructor for public employees at the Institute of Public Administration in Oman, where she served for 8 years. She then pursued further education in the United States, earning a master's degree, and subsequently returned to the Institute for an additional 2 years before deciding to resign. She is the proud mother of 5 children, with her eldest being 40 years old and her youngest being 30. She is a person who exemplifies the power of belief through her way of life. This is none other than Madame Sharifa al Harthy. Assalamu alaikum, Madame Sharifa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for choosing me to be your host today.
In fact, thanks to you for accepting our invitation.
It's my pleasure.
This is our honor, actually. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. I'm here to speak to our staff and to give them my experience. Yeah.
I think that your staff have already heard some of the glimpses about you. But let us hear a little bit about your childhood and how you spent it, and whether you actually came from a rich and wealthy family, or, if you want.
It's funny, this question, because myself, I didn't know. Actually, one day in school in Zanzibar, there was a day that there was a charity day, and we were asked from our teachers to bring a donation. So second day, I was excited. I took 1 shilling with me, which my mother gave me. For that time, it was a lot of money. And my friends asked me, "Did you bring money?" I say, "Yes, I bring 1 shilling. Then we went to recess, and then we had another class, and the teacher came to collect the money. Mm-hmm. I opened my bag, the money was gone. So I start crying, and then the teacher asked me, "Why are you crying?" I said, "Well, I don't find my 1 shilling. She came to me and pet me. She said, "Don't worry. You are a granddaughter of Sheikh Abdullah bin Sulaiman al Harthy. You can bring more than what you had. You are coming from a wealthy family." I looked at her, "Huh? Am I rich?" She said, "Yes, just go back." And I didn't know that. I have no idea. I went back home and I asked my mother, "Are we rich?" She said, why are you asking this question?" She said, I told her, because in school the teacher said we are wealthy, and I lost my money and I can bring another money. She said, "Say Alhamdulillah. We are Alhamdulillah comfortable and go very comfortable." My grandfather was the sheikh of all Arabs coming from Oman, and he was responsible for them, all their issues. Some Omanis, they have their wealth in Zanzibar, and he was Mithil Amin of that money.
He was in Oman?
He was in Zanzibar.
In Zanzibar.
He was in Zanzibar, and for the government, he represents all the, not all Omani Arabs, because there are also Yemeni Arabs, that I'm talking about Omani Arabs. So he was like their godfather, and he was responsible for them, all their issues, all their wealth, any problem in the marriages, he is responsible. So Alhamdulillah, we're coming from comfortable family.
Yeah. So then you were comfortable and happy in Zanzibar. Then what made you decide to move out?
Very, very good question. I remember, I don't remember much about the revolution, but I remember when they took my father from home and take him to jail. Yeah, although he was not a politician, he was the only son going with his father everywhere, helping his father in his own issues. They came home, they took him, and then they came again second day and asked my mother to handle his car key. He used to have a Mercedes #1, and it was the only Mercedes in Zanzibar. So, and it is say high, HA1. HA, it means high, because there were two committees of politics in Zanzibar. One is for, I don't know, for Arabs or Muslim, and then the other for Africa, Shirazi. I'm not good in politics. They took the car, and I was very sad seeing them take the car and drive away, they took my father first, and then they took the car. It was khalas, gone. So, and then things are becoming very bad. My father was in jail. So I think my father instructed my mother to leave Zanzibar with the children, and it wasn't easy. So we had to take a ship, to leave from Zanzibar going to Kenya.
You left without your father?
No, my father was in jail. And they didn't touch my grandfather. I don't know, because maybe he was under protection of British. I don't remember why.
Yeah.
But my mother took us all, and we went to Kenya. She wanted to register us in school, but there was a challenge or instructions on don't take children who are coming from Zanzibar. They took before, and then they decided, no, all the immigrants who are coming from Zanzibar are not allowed to be enrolled in school. For what reason, I don't know. It came from up. So we stayed in Zanzibar about 2 months. And then my father joined. They released him. He was not a politician. They released him, and then he joined us, and we stayed in Kenya. Maybe we stayed about 6 months in Kenya, before moving to Saudi Arabia. Because we left all our wealth, everything. We came out with nothing except few clothes, and that's it, nothing. So, and then we were staying in Kenya. Then, alhamdulillah, my grandfather, when he left, and he went to Saudi Arabia, and King Faisal was kind enough to send us ticket, all of us, to leave from Kenya to go to Jeddah. When we were in Jeddah, also we got another challenge. My older sister, she was in grade 8, and the schools were in Arabic, and we couldn't afford private school for her. For me and my sister, they took us back, and we started from standard 1. We lost 2 years, but we didn't feel much. But my older sister refused to go to school because they asked her to start from grade 1.
So lose 8 or 7
years, and she's very old. She cannot be in grade 1. So we decided to leave and go and live in Kuwait, where we got a good education, alhamdulillah, and we struggled, but alhamdulillah, we managed.
Well, I think once you told me a story. It's about your unwavering belief, of course, in power of charity, let's say, which stems from your witnessing that from your mother during your trip, I think, from Kenya to Kuwait. If you can tell us that story.
This was a funny story. We were living in Kenya, living in a house. All we are not going to school. My father has no job. In fact, all his life he didn't have a job. His job is to go with his father wherever, to go to drive him, to go with him. He had never done any job. He was the only son, and his father was depending on him and everything. He couldn't do any other job. So it was difficult for us to live in Kenya. So while we were waiting, my grandfather said, I'm going to Saudi Arabia, and I hope I'll manage to get you like Laji Siyas to go and live in Saudi Arabia. So we were waiting in Kenya, and then suddenly we heard about this guy, because the port was not far from our house, that, people in Zanzibar were running away. Some of them, they didn't have passport, they didn't have money to buy tickets, and nobody was going by aeroplane, they're going by boats. So this guy who was running away from Zanzibar, he hid himself in the store of the boat in order to go to Dubai. When he reached in Kenya, the port, they found him hiding in the store, and they took him out. And they wanted to, he's an Arab, of course, wanted to send him back in Zanzibar. And he was crying like a child. And then, the rumors, all people know about it, and they're going to send him back in Zanzibar. And Zanzibar, definitely he would be killed because he ran away. He was an Arab. Maybe he was wanted because an Arab to be in jail. Maybe he was in hide, and then he got this chance to go to run away. So when my mother heard that, she was trembling and crying because she knows our situation. In fact, it made me cry because I never forgot this. So my mother took her bangles and gave it to my father and tell, please sell this bangles and give the money to the guy to have a ticket to go to Dubai. But please don't let him take him back because we know what will happen. So my father, first he was arguing with my mother. How do you do this? Ourselves, we don't know where we are going. I have no job. We have no food. We don't know what our future. But my mother insists. She had 6 bangles. She gave 2. My father sold the bangles and sent the money to this guy. And he was hugging my father and crying. He couldn't believe. He thought he was going to be sent back to Zanzibar. And he managed to buy his ticket to go to Dubai. Of course, by dhow or by boat. Anyway, after 3 days, my grandfather called my father, or I think with a telegram. Those days we didn't have even telephones. We're in this new house in Kenya.
Yeah.
They sent him a telegram, Khalas, King Faisal, accept to send all the ticket for you, the children, and our nanny. We took our nanny. She's an African lady, but she didn't want to stay in Zanzibar because we are leaving. So my mother was praying and kissing the floor, sujda. And she said, those 2 bangles, you are so upset that I gave them away. See how much it cost all of us by aeroplane. Nobody dreamed. We were dreaming to go by boat, and all of us. So from that time, I believe if you give once, God doesn't want, it will give you, compensate you more than what is in your head.
Exactly.
More than in my head. So from that time, I learned what's the meaning of giving to unfortunate or less fortunate. Alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah, I think this is the thing which maybe many people don't understand, the power of charity.
Exactly.
You believe in the charity.
Yes.
That when you give money, you're not actually taking out of the wealth that you have. You're adding it more.
Increasing it more. And the self-satisfaction when you give somebody and see happy, smiling,
that's priceless.
Priceless, yeah.
Very true, very true.
But that moment, I never forget in my life. Even sometimes if I want to give somebody, they say, I don't think he deserves much. I'll give this. And then I remember that one in my head. I said, no. My mother sacrificed her life and ours in order to save somebody else. Alhamdulillah. Allah akthar wa akthar.
I think this is also tell us it's an indirect message or a lesson a mother taught her children.
Definitely.
Without telling them.
Exactly.
Just by observing.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm a great believer. Whenever you give, I have a lot of incidents that when I give, I get more. I don't have time to explain everything, but from that time, I learned. Yeah. Even not money, even in school, if somebody come to you, say, explain to me this, I don't understand, I believe also if you explain and help, you will do better in school.
Exactly.
You will do better in school, alhamdulillah.
And you will get things back. You don't have to wait for things to come. It will come eventually.
By itself. And when you give, don't expect that she will give you back, but expect Allah will reward you, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
So years passed by and now you're in Oman.
Yes.
After all these years.
Yeah.
How did you meet with Dr. Muhammad al-Barwani?
Muhammad was a friend of my brother. Because after the revolution, they sent a lot of people, sent their children, special boys, to Cairo to study. I think they were given scholarship by Jamal Abdul Nasser. So my brother was there studying, and Muhammad also, his parents, because again, he went to Dubai and he faced the same thing like my sister. No schools, and he has to go in a Kuwaiti school in Dubai, but he has to start from grade 1. He didn't want to go to school. Then his mother, she was a school teacher, and she has a job in Dubai as a school teacher. She lived, alhamdulillah, comfortable with her children. So from her money, she decided to send her son to Cairo to study. So there he met my brother, and they were good friends. And then when my brother was getting married, he asked Muhammad to go to escort him with his car, to the mosque, and then from the mosque to escort him to the hall where the wedding. So he came inside with my brother, and that's how we met. Yeah. Of course, I was wearing nice dress with makeup. Things look different,
So that was the first glimpse.
Yes,
and then he decided.
He decided immediately because his mother was forcing him to get married. Because he came back from America, he worked he has a good job in PDO, and she was telling me, get married, So then he went to his mother. And his mother said, I know that family very well from Zanzibar. I will arrange everything. And immediately she called my auntie and asked if I'm engaged or not. And my aunt said, no, she's not engaged. She's still in the university. She will finish next year. So they came immediately to propose while I am in the university. Yeah.
And you accepted, or were you forced?
Well, no. My father asked me in the telephone, this guy, of course, I knew him, and I didn't see much, but I talked to him that day in the wedding, and he came to propose, and he's your brother's friend. Do you accept it? I kept quiet, and استحي يعني. But سكوت علامة الرضا. أيوة.
So then that's where the story.
So I was proposed, except mahar came while I'm still in the university. Yeah.
And it all happened quickly.
Yeah, it happened quickly.
This is what happened in the past. Everything happens quickly.
No plan, nothing. خلاص توكل على الله. إن الله حب المتوكلين.
Exactly. Things went quickly in terms of marriage. But of course, in communication part, it takes time. Now the communication is faster.
Much easier. Yeah. Those days he used to write me later in the university. It would take 1 week, and then I have said to send him back another 1 week.
Now the marriage gets late nowadays.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So then now you were in a job. Dr. Muhammad was in a job.
Yeah.
When did you decide to move into business?
Actually, not me. Muhammad is coming from a family with a background of business. His father was a businessman in Zanzibar. He had his own shop. He used to sell shoes and tailoring. He studied in Britain as a tailoring, يعني like مثل Versace مال اليوم يعني. Those days, so all elite Arabs, they have to stitch their suit at his shop. So he came in a background of a business. And he admired his father. And when he came back, he wanted to work with his father in business. But his father, those old-fashioned, is a one-person business. He didn't want him to join him. No, yeah. He said, you are young, you have your education, go and work in the government or PDO or other company. So then he went and worked in PDO. Of course, he got a lot of training in PDO. Alhamdulillah, we have to thank PDO for... When he joined PDO, of course, his shahada was microbiology. Okay. And he joined an oil company. So PDO, they sent him to to England first to have more a mathematic background. So he had a teacher for 6 months, one-to-one, to improve his math and physics. Then they sent him, when he passed, they sent him to Scotland, Heriot-Watt University, to do a master's degree in petroleum engineering.
That's in Edinburgh or?
Edinburgh. It's a nice place. So when he came back, he worked in PDO, and he did well, mashallah. And they sent a lot of training in Holland, in Shell, a good training background, PDO, alhamdulillah. So after, maybe he worked about 8 years, then one day he came home, he said, I want to open my own business, having my own business. I didn't resist. I believed on him, to tell you the truth. I believe on his decision, but I told him, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to have a construction company.
No, I'm not getting this. But you did not resist.
At the beginning, no. The beginning, I didn't resist because he told me we will do better, we will have better things. He told me, I will build you a house with a big swimming pool. So I was happy with the swimming pool part.
No, but that is still strange, Yani, that you did not resist.
No, at the beginning, to tell you when he started, when he told me, he convinced me I will do better. And look at this person. There were few Omanis those days. They have their own business. And alhamdulillah, they were doing well. It's not as difficult as now. So he starts his construction. When he's stuck, he knows nothing construction. And this is point I want to give to all young generation. If they want to start a business, they should go in something they understand what it is, know how, not just to jump. He saw some of his friends have construction business, they are doing well. Okay, I will do.
And they're already expert in the field. He's not.
Nothing. And he went a lot of losses, He bought equipment, a lot of staff, engineers, and he was losing money. And then here the problem start. And when I was begging him to go back to PDO, I told him, why just quit, go back to PDO. And but he's a person who believes that at the end, he has a word he always say, always in the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel we see a light.
We see the light.
Yeah, but this tunnel is long, Mohammed, yeah.
There is no light.
No light.
Too dark.
And then what scares me, because people start asking for their money, the suppliers who provide cement, or provide concrete, or big machinery, which he bought, khalata or ma khalata. So it was so scary for me, because they used to call home and ask for him, we want our money, and it bothers me a lot.
Oh, so he took loan to buy those.
Of course, where I bring money, So what he decided, when I was asked, please go back to PDO, he said, no, I will continue.
Now you resisted.
And he told me one word I never forgot. He said, those two children you have, I used to have two, Osama and Safana, those children you have in future in Oman, and like all other countries, there will not be jobs like now. Our time, they come and call you, come and work for us. The country is growing, people having more children. We need private sector in order to absorb those young generation to have jobs, including your children. So anyway, he went back, he sold everything he had, and paid back the loan. And he decided, he was sitting at home researching, what should I do? He didn't want to go back to PDO. Then he decided to go in selling, they call it wellhead, for drilling wellhead. Wellhead, they call it diamond boat. It's a big wellhead, it's all diamond.
Yeah.
And they are using it to cut the rocks when you are to make holes. So alhamdulillah, he managed research, and he was an agent of those wellhead, they call it diamond boat. And that's how he's starting improving and getting better. And alhamdulillah, Allah, but still there were a lot of times going up and down. It's not always smooth, but better. At least we can cover our children education. They were in private school. There was a time it was really, really tough, I have to spend, and my salary was only 400 those days, graduate in Oman. Thank God that our house, it was built by PDO, and they're taking small chunk, it's not much. So alhamdulillah, we survive because we have our own house, and things slowly get better, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. But I think the journey itself, it's fun and enjoying, regardless of the challenges.
Yes.
Why I'm saying this, because it happened that I used to work in a company before, and then I decided to quit.
Yeah.
And then I said I will pursue my own business, and I actually survived for 9 years. But all those 9 years, it was full of fun. And I know that I'm doing things, and I'm spending 24 hours. If I was given 30 hours a day, I would have done it.
Yeah, know how when he was having construction company, and I'm working, I have to go to Dawam 7:30.
Yeah.
And he wants to go and bring water. The sayaratic bira. You have to go and fill it with water and to bring for the construction. Yeah. He didn't have drivers. He didn't have money. So I used to wake up by Salat al-Fajr. I'll take him to Huwair, fill the tank with water, take it back to To the construction company place. I go home, take shower, and then go to work. It was really...
It's a hassle.
It was a challenge, and then you come back home, you have to change your children, take them to school. But alhamdulillah, at the end, you got the result. Everything, you have to work hard. Yeah.
And I think now when you think about it, thinking back, you feel the fruit out of it.
And I keep telling my children, because we are tired. How come, Yeah.
Okay, then here is a question for you then, because normally we ask women, how do they balance between work and life?
Yeah.
But now it's not just work and life. You, as Madame Sharifa, you say work, you have business and life. How do you balance between all these three?
To tell you the truth, it's not easy. And I feel sorry for a lot of ladies who are working because I went through that. Because you are working with your husband, both of you, when you finish work, you go home. The husband will sit on the sofa, expecting the food to come on his reading his magazine or iPad, whatever. But for the lady, they have double work. It finish at work, start at home.
Start another work.
Start to make sure they eat well, they have homework. It's not easy, but you have, since you believe on something, you will put more time for it.
Exactly.
You have to believe on it. And it's not easy. I really believe that ladies work more than men if they're working. They work at home because the husband doesn't ask a housemaid why the kitchen is not clean, why clothes are not ironed. You know, all these things are waiting for you. Plus, taking care of your children, listening to their problem, looking at their homework. Then you have meetings at school. Of course, when I have meetings at school, he used to come to me. Let me give me the credit, yeah.
Giving you support.
Yeah, and if there's a problem of a child, I think this is funny. Maybe he doesn't want me to say it, but I'll say it. You know, he's very sensitive inside. And it's not like, I'm strong. And they say I got this strength from Kharousi side. My mother is Kharousi.
Okay.
And they say Kharousi are always strong people. We got a call, we were in a meeting, they called us, they said Tariq fell down in school and he was rushed in the hospital and come quickly in Khawla hospital. So even he couldn't drive a car, you know, we were both in the meeting, we left the meeting, then he managed because we were in Wataya and Khawla hospital not far from there. When we went to the hospital, he saw he had a break in his head and he was bleeding a lot. And they put his legs up because his blood pressure was going very low.
Yeah.
They couldn't take him even to the X-ray room because they want his blood pressure to be normal. So when he saw him, he fell down.
Oh.
He fell down completely on the floor. So I was trying to ask the nurses and people to help me. It happened, my cousin, he was Kharousi side. He came and saw me this. What happened? What happened, Sharifa? What happened to Muhammad? I said, not to Muhammad, to Tariq. And then they put him one bed Tariq, one bed him. Yes, that is Kharousi's brave, not Barwani.
And then you were the power woman in between.
Exactly, yeah. So,
SubhanAllah.
yeah.
So mashallah, it's all the power of belief again.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the power of belief with the staff. I'm sure you have so many stories that you can share about how you believed in your stuff. Maybe if you can give us some examples.
I'll give you two. Maybe two. I have more, but there was a guy I remember who came when we were in Wataya. He used to live in Barca. He came to ask for a job. He was a university graduate, by the way, and I don't know why he didn't get a job. Those times we used, maybe ma kammal university, but he came and he begged me, he wants a job. And I was a HR those days, and I asked him how he said he was begging, crying like a woman, and I asked him. He said, "You know, my wife asked me if I don't have a job not to go back home. Please give me a job." So I was thinking, what to give? What do you want? He said, give me anything. So anyway, we employed him to go in interior. Those, roast about and so on. I asked him, we want this. He was young, of course. He said, any job, any job. So I gave him that job. He got the training. He went and he did very well. And because he was partly more educated than other, so he went up much higher. And then I didn't see him for years. Years I didn't see him. Then one day I was driving and I got punctured. Those days, no more by telephone.
Yeah.
When you have a puncture in summer, you are dying.
Stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck. And it was opposite Al Fair in Korom. I used to live in Korom. So I was parking this side, trying to cross the road to go to Al Fair. Maybe I'll get a telephone booth and call my husband to come and help me. So I see this guy come running. Madam Sharifa, what happened? What happened? I said, who is this guy? And I don't know him. Then he helped me. He changed the tire. And then He said, I think you didn't recognize me. I said, no, who are you? He said, I'm the guy who came from Barca walking, and he came by, those taxi on the road, one, you stop on the way, and then he walked to our office. And I told you I need a job, and even I don't have money to go back to Barca. Okay, so I gave him $1. I don't remember. He said, I'm that guy who came to your office, and you gave me a job, and you gave me $1 to go back to my family. As I said, I will never forget you. I am so happy that I saw you today to help you. And now he was almost, and he is growing. He was maybe Derek Flomo in those positions. Yeah. Alhamdulillah, I was so happy, so unbelievable. Even if anybody else can't help me, I won't be happy like him, like come and help me. And I really didn't recognize him. Then another guy, while I was working in HR, all management senior position were foreigners, mostly British, Australian, and they didn't believe in Omanis. I have this guy, I believed on him, because even when I talked to him, I was so impressed on his appearance, on his answer, and on his confidence. When you talk to a guy, you know how confident he is. And so we employ him. After some time, he worked about 6 months, 7 months, say, no, this guy should have higher position. So I don't remember if he was a floorman. I don't recall those. So I went to one of the Australian guys named Harvey. He's a senior manager. I said, Harvey, this guy is so good. We have to promote him and let him be rig manager. I think he was assistant. What? No way. Are you joking?
He was against it.
No, are you joking? I said, why? I said, no way. I said, but he has all qualification, because in PDO you have those certificate you have to pass, 1, 2, 3, a lot of. He had all, and those very good, and he's very good, hardworking. So he said, no way. So he said, so I went home, I told Mohammed, so this guy doesn't want to promote this guy. I believe on him, and he's very good. So Mohammed said, who is this guy? I said, I will pull out his paper, because I don't remember his name very well. I pulled all his paper. I went to Mohammed, showed all his report. He was quite impressed. He told me, what? You know what you should do? Now, that guy told me, I went again back to him. He told me, if you do this, PDO will refuse. And if there will be a blowout, you will be accounted to. Exactly. When he told me blowout, I was a little bit scared. Oh my God, a blowout. I went back to Mohammed second day. I said, this is what he told me. He said, listen, he told PDO will not accept. You go back, tell him, labor office, they refuse to give us new clearance if we don't promote this guy. So I went back to him and say, Harvey, I wait 1 week. I didn't want to go immediately because he will know this is then they wanted a lot of clearance for senior guys. They refused. They said, if we don't Omanize, those days there was nothing called Omanization. If we don't give chance to this guy, even as an acting, let us give him an acting.
Yeah.
So let us see 3 months, 6 months, and then if he prove himself, we will give the position. Because you cannot promote somebody, and then if you find not capable and demote him. And this is what you are facing. So we promote that guy, and he turned as I believed on him. He was so good, exceptional good. And he was the one then bringing to me good Omanis. Told me in order to give them those positions, because they're not getting chance for those positions. I believe HR should be always Omani. Because some companies, I don't want to mention, they will put an Omani as a name only. He's an HR. But then there's a foreigner under it. And all the decisions are taken by the foreigner, and in Oman is just like a show. So a lot of high positions are not, people are not getting, those days, not now I'm talking. Yeah. And from that time, we had a lot of Omanis who were taking better jobs, alhamdulillah. And I'm proud to say, even those who worked for us, we trained them, and then they left us. They went to other companies and have those high positions. Because when they see us, they say, بفضلكم احنا وصلنا هنا.
They carried the name.
Yes, they carry now, and you believe that is also like charity. It's like charity. And I'm so proud. We develop him. Now he's working with a better job. After all, he's come back for Oman. He will live in Oman. He will spend money in Oman. He will raise his children in Oman. So the economy of Oman is growing, alhamdulillah.
But I have a question now. You believe in him and the person before, and I think many of them. For you, these people are strangers.
Definitely, yeah.
So how did you have, place that trust in them, knowing that they will do good? But what if it went the other way around? Maybe they reached to a point that they might even disappoint you.
No, usually, if you believe, it's like a hint. Even myself, I used to believe in myself that I can do a lot of things. Many people didn't believe that I can do.
Yeah.
Like to have 2 jobs and a business also is not easy. But even if you have belief in 100 people, 1 or 2, if they are not good, it happens everywhere. It happens 1 or 2, but most of them are good. And you always, what they say in Arabic, give a belief of doubt. I don't know that. It's muhim to give them chance. Many times, because we are afraid to give them very high position, and then you cannot demote them. So many of them, what we did, we give them 3 months acting.
Okay, so at least you...
Yeah, they get allowance of acting, and this time you observe them.
Okay.
And I can tell you 95 or 96%, all of them, they were successful and they did a good job. Hardly 1%. And it was not his ability, his attitude. When you have high position, you should have good skills, leadership, interpersonal with staff. So some people, they don't have those interpersonal skills to deal with the staff, but not about his ability. His ability was 100% good. But other staff were complaining that he's not good in instructing them or to delegate the job. So this was the problem.
So I think that's also a lesson of leadership to some people.
Yes, leadership. You have to keep an ear open to listen to your staff.
Yeah.
You have to listen to them. Understand them. There's a lot of things you don't know, but their staff can come back to you and give you a good feedback. Exactly. You have to trust on them.
Being a manager is good, but being the leader is very difficult. It's
easy easy to be blamed.
Easy to be
if anything goes wrong, we'll blame,
Yeah, very true. So finally, as we conclude, we would greatly appreciate your wisdom and guidance. What valuable advice would you give to our viewers?
I will tell them, first, believe on yourself. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot do it. Try it. And even if you fail, because we fail in business many times, change your strategy. Failing is not wrong. Failing, you learn from your mistake, you change your strategy, and you are trying to do better. Like Mohammed, he was in construction, he knew he was wrong, he changed his strategy, and so believe in yourself, and don't let anybody let you down. And try and try and try. And inshallah, you will reach there.
Inshallah, you reach there. Inshallah. Thank you very much, Madam Sharifa, for all the information that you've provided, the stories. You made us believe in things that maybe we haven't believed in before.
I'm so happy when I call my staff, I call them my children, because all of them, they came young. All of them came young. And now, some of them, there was one, I think his name Saeed. He's now a manager, I think, in Wireline or Al-Khaduri. I don't really. He was a graduate Maskin. He came and we sent him interior immediately. And he was leaving Rustaq. I think he was so excited for a new job. Yeah. He left Rustaq at night because the flight was 5 o'clock. He went to the other airport and fainted. And then he was took by ambulance to the hospital. But mashallah, now he's a manager and general mayor or manager. I don't remember the. So he came. I think he was 2022. Like my son. Now I see him with his family. I'm so proud.
So he's one of those few people that you believed in.
All of them. I believe in all of them.
So in conclusion, belief holds immense power to shape our lives. When we wholeheartedly believe in something, we unlock our potential, overcome obstacles, and find purpose. Embrace belief, dare to dream, and make a positive impact. Believe and you can make it better.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
السلام عليكم.
جزاك الله خير. أحسن.
وإياكم.
شكرا. هلا فيك.